The hair.
My hair is just, taking most of the screen up.
The clothes.
I have one outfit that I was very embarrassed about wearing.
The catchphrases.
You got it, dude.
Cut it out.
How rude.
And the famous twins who became mini moguls.
The Olsen twins, from diapers to couture.
Who didn't want to join the Tanner clan on the show that defined Friday nights?
Everyone from Wayne Newton to Suzanne Summers to Troy Aikman guested on the show.
Plus, find out the price of fame for these young stars.
If that's our life, that's what we know. It's the only thing we know.
It's very hard to go through any sort of personal battle in a public arena.
From Broadway to the runway to the comedy stage, this is the cast of Full House. Where are they now?
Where did I go? Full House is on all the time.
Full House debuted on ABC in September of 1987 and changed the face of family TV.
Full House in its era was a huge hit for ABC. It really was the staple of the TGIF Friday night franchise.
It launched tons of family-friendly sitcoms for the rest of the 90s for ABC, from Family Matters, Step by Step. It really was the starting point for that whole genre.
But it was always Full House. You couldn't wait to see what kind of hijinks they all got into. And no matter what shows circled around it, Full House always remained constant.
Full House was about Danny Tanner, played by Bob Saget, who was the father of 3 little girls. And after his wife died in a car crash, he enlisted the help of his brother-in-law, played by John Stamos, and his best friend, played by Dave Coulier, to come help raise these girls in this household.
Full House ran for 8 seasons, leaving the air in 1995. But the series has been extremely successful in syndication around the world.
There's a new Full House fan born every 3 years, I say. 4 or 5-year-old kids, I love you on Full House, so it's been a blessing.
And the cast remain close.
It's still a core family for them, and they keep in touch like any family would.
You never really hear of a cast that gets along so well and, really loves spending time together. And we all love each other.
It's so much fun to be part of classic television.
It's one of those phenomenons in television, I think, that I have to embrace and be proud of.
John Stamos was perfectly cast as laid-back Uncle Jesse on Full House.
Jesse Katsopoulos is the hottest character on TV ever.
He was cool, he was the rock star, he was the one that sort of would let the kids get away with things.
Come on, I'm gonna be on MTV in a minute. Joey, girls, come in here, I'm gonna be on MTV!
And though he was already a teen idol thanks to his role as Blackie on General Hospital, the primetime exposure on Full House brought Stamos to an even bigger level of fame and an even higher level of hair.
Oh, John Stamos, and that mullet. The mullet that went around the world, the Sta mullet.
Full House is playing somewhere in the world, and my hair is just, taking most of the screen up.
When Full House ended in 1995, John Stamos was without a network gig for the first time in 8 years and felt somewhat pigeonholed as Uncle Jesse.
People think of me as, like I said, maybe lighter. I come from a comedy, sitcom, Full House or that type of thing.
After appearing in a string of romantic TV movie comedies, Stamos made his return to prime time in a short-lived series called Thieves in 2001. During this time, the dark-haired hunk was involved with leggy model Rebecca Romaine. They met during his Full House days and married in 1998.
They were one of these couples that were both so good looking and everyone knew them and everyone was rooting for them.
In 2004, the couple split, divorced a year later, and John returned to the dating pool.
I think the earth shook when John Stamos and Rebecca Romaine got divorced.
In 2005, he returned to ABC, his old stomping grounds, in the comedy Jake in Progress. The title character was a publicist trying to change his womanizing ways.
Off the gate, it didn't really do that much, and it was shortly canceled after that, but John has tried to keep his comedy roots together.
Jake in Progress only lasted 2 seasons, making room for a more serious Stamos when he scored the role of Dr. Tony Gates on ER.
Green is nothing, yellow is urgent, red is critical, and black is dead.
They've been talking to me for 7, 8 years about coming onto ER, and it just never seemed like the right time. But now I feel like I can really add something to the show without taking away from anybody, and I can come in and change the dynamic of people's relationships.
John actually started his career in soap operas. He started in General Hospital, so he kind of moved back to the hospital setting with ER. He stayed there for 3 years to the end of the show's run and was very successful.
Next, the in-demand actor appeared as himself on a memorable 2010 episode of Entourage.
He was this sort of really cool big shot actor who was only interested in being with Vince, the other big shot actor in the show, and had no interest in being friendly with Johnny Drama.
Johnny, you're a you know that?
In 2011, he had a very different kind of guest role on Law & Order SVU.
He's a reproductive abuser. And what he does is he gets as many women. He loves babies and loves to have babies and procreate. This baby is an expression of our love, and that's why we have to have it. He pokes holes in the condoms and gets these women pregnant.
The Law & Order SVU episode was a big departure for John.
And it was this really sort of dark character. It was not the sort of Uncle Jesse that we knew.
John Stamos also continues to reach younger fans thanks to his recurring role on Glee.
John appeared on Glee last season as Carl, who is a dentist and the love interest for Jayma Mays' Emma character on the show.
I give her roses, and every time I try to touch her, that happens.
And you'd think after 30 years or so I should be like gone by now, you know. To be asked to be on some, you know, relevant shows and stuff, it's really helped me, you know, stay somewhat relevant for an 87-year-old ex-teen idol.
John exercised his considerable musical skills in several different projects. On stage, he played Albert in the Broadway revival of Bye Bye Birdie and was Corny Collins in a star-studded Hollywood Bowl production of Hairspray.
He really enjoys channeling those musical roots and getting back to the stage every once in a while.
And in early 2012, Stamos announced that he'll be going on the road with his longtime friends, the Beach Boys, for their 50th anniversary tour.
And he's a really good friend and he's a really good drummer, too.
I will do anything the Beach Boys ask me to do. If they want, I'll probably end up selling T-shirts at that concert. I'm such a fan that, you know, I'll be just excited to sit in the audience, you know, and watch that show.
John Stamos' popularity really hasn't diminished at all. And I think that he actually has gotten hotter and hotter with age.
I'm Mary-Kate. And I'm Ashley.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were babies when they split the role of Michelle Tanner on Full House in 1987. But the pair almost didn't make it past the pilot.
Mary-Kate and Ashley just cried the entire time. We had to go and dub a bunch of it. And at one point, I said, we can't do this. We have to, and they had another set of twins. So we had those kids come in for a little while, and then they said, let's try the Olsen twins.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were the luckiest babies in show business. And I'll give it to the Olsens. They were good actresses. How they did all that stuff on cue, the expressions.
Say, hi, people.
Hi, people.
One of the fun pieces of the Michelle Tanner character was this catchphrase that she had, which was, "You got it, dude."
You got it, dude.
It was always fun to see her with the "You got it, dude" catchphrase. She tried to be one of the guys with Joey and Jesse sometimes.
Right after Full House ended in 1995, the Olsens turned to a new direction, the big screen, with their film debut, It Takes Two, alongside Kirstie Alley and Steve Guttenberg.
It's about two girls, a rich girl and a poor girl. But what I see is me. I see me too. Then we switch places. And then we try to get my counselor and her dad together.
In '98, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen moved back to TV. They had a show called Two of a Kind. They played the daughters of a widowed father once again.
It's weird that you're dating. Yeah, Dad, I've got to admit, it is kind of strange.
You had Mary-Kate, who was more of a tomboyish character, and you had Ashley, who was a little more of a girly girl. So it was a very interesting departure from playing the same character like they had in Full House for 8 seasons.
Two of a Kind went off the air in 1999, and 2 years later, the Olsens once again graced the small screen with So Little Time on the Fox Family Channel.
Mary-Kate plays Riley, and I'm Carly.
I'm kind of like my character in the sense that I'm more laid back and I don't like getting in trouble.
But I'm definitely not as much as a drama queen as I appear to be on TV.
Come on, I love it already.
And they had a lot of fun as high schoolers.
In 2004, the girls were back on the big screen in New York Minute. They even helped with casting the film.
We made a wish list, and we were so lucky to almost get everyone that we had wanted.
They played these two twin sisters who got sort of wrapped up in all of this mayhem, which involved assassins and a truancy officer.
不要再叫我们！
我打倒你，一个人变成两个人。
我不等我们，已经是了个人了。
New York Minute was Ashley's swan song from acting, though Mary-Kate still appears in roles such as the 2008 film The Whackness and the recurring part of Tara on Showtime's Weeds.
He meets my cultural needs, and you engage my sensual sexual side.
I just thought she was adorable. You know, she was a girl. She was an actress who came in like anyone else, and she worked hard, and she was sweet to everyone.
These famous twins weren't just acting from a young age. They were also business moguls.
They really wanted to brand themselves and to really kind of boost their image worldwide.
They created a company, Dual Star, which led to clothing, dolls, TV, movies, everything you can think of.
The huge success of these media ventures made the young twins very rich, earning them the nickname the $1 billion Babies.
In about 2007, their net worth was estimated at over $100 million.
I keep in touch with the twins when I need money. If I need to buy a plane or something, I'll call them and say, you know, can I borrow $50 million? Sure, Uncle Jesse. And you know, they send the money over.
Their magic touch has also made them power players in another industry, the world of fashion.
Olsen twins, from diapers to couture. I mean, seriously, I think they started their first line venture at age 6. And then from that moment, they were just all over the retail market. From 4 to 14, their line at Walmart, it's for the tween market. These are the girls that look up to Mary-Kate and Ashley. So they put their golden touch on everything.
With the success of their tween line, the girls kicked their fashion empire into full gear, launching ready-to-wear collections such as Olsen Boy and the hipster chic Elizabeth and James.
We're just supporting American fashion.
With the industry taking notice, the fashionistas decided it was time to go highbrow and debuted their first couture line.
Mary-Kate and Ashley started their couture line, The Row, inspired by Savile Row.
And by the way, they're expensive. These girls are now making amazing clothing for a lot of money.
Mary-Kate and Ashley's flair for fashion has also made them a red carpet favorite.
They were made the faces of Bagley Mishka, and a lot of people thought, you know, is that right? Because of course everybody thought of them as bag lady chic and boho chic. But Bagley Mishka, they knew that these were the fashion it girls. They weren't just, oh, we're just actresses that want to start a line, la 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 la, file my nails, let's hire somebody else to do it. No, you've got to own it, honey. And they have.
Still ahead on the cast of Full House, Where Are They Now? See how TV's coolest aunt almost didn't make the cut. But first, it's full exposure for TV's squeaky clean dad.
I do have lots of stories about Bob. It's an honor to get the crap beat out of you by people that you love.
And later, Jodi's road from fame to recovery.
And it was a chance for me to finally tell my story the way I wanted to.
It's all coming up when the cast of Full House, Where Are They Now? Continues. Welcome back to the cast of Full House, Where Are They Now? As Danny Tanner, a single father of 3, Bob Saget not only became the dad his daughters could trust, but also the father we all wanted to have.
Danny Tanner was the coolest dad on earth. I mean, everyone wanted to have Danny Tanner as their father because no matter what you did wrong, you could drive a car through the house, and Danny Tanner was still gonna love and support you.
He was a neat freak, very clean, but he always wanted the best for his daughters, and that's why he brought in Jesse and Joey to help raise them.
Bob hasn't stopped working since the show ended. In fact, he was already branching out while Full House was still on the air.
At the same time as Bob Saget was on Full House, he was also the host of ABC's America's Funniest Home Videos.
During the 90s, Bob was really the face of ABC because both Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos were 2 of the biggest shows on the network.
When Full House did come to an end, Saget continued hosting America's Funniest Home Videos and also jumped back into the stand-up scene with his own brand of comedy.
What was interesting with Bob's stand-up comedy, it was a real departure from the humor of Full House. It was very raunchy, very dirty.
Saget's star would rise again in 2005 with a guest starring role on HBO's hit show, Entourage.
He plays this guy who is basically egomaniac. He loves women, he loves strippers, he likes drugs.
I want to have sex in Murray's office.
What? It's really fun to do this thing. I just come in and I get a little crazy and I, take Excedrin and I drink a little coffee and I do Gallen's lines.
People say Bob Saget played an exaggerated version of himself on Entourage. I think it's pretty close to who he is.
For years, I've kind of stayed away from wanting to host things. This felt more like an event. every week.
Bob continued to take on dramatically different projects, often around the same time. In 2006, he started hosting the NBC game show 1 vs. 100. He also released a parody film called Farce of the Penguins.
In 2007, Bob Saget directed this straight-to-DVD movie called Farce of the Penguins. It was sort of a spoof on March of the Penguins.
When I first saw March of the Penguins and realized for the first time in my life that they mate once a year, we think they're monogamous, according to Morgan Freeman, and they live to eat, I went, these are my relatives in Florida.
Leave it up to Bob Saget to take something so squeaky clean and make it the dirtiest thing ever.
The lucky man is gonna get some of this hot booty. Shake your booty.
The raunchiness continued when Comedy Central roasted the former sitcom dad in 2008.
It's an honor to get the crap beat out of you by people that you love.
They had John Stamos as the roast master, and everyone got to sort of take their shots at his very dirty character.
I've been waiting for this day for 20 years to just totally rip him a new a-hole.
Really?
And I am excited.
In 2009, Bob tried his hand at the sitcom world again with the ABC comedy Surviving Suburbia.
He played the married father of 2 children who had these next-door neighbors who moved in and really sort of wreaked havoc on the suburban town.
The sitcom failed to take off, but Bob has had a steady gig on another popular comedy.
Bob continues his work on television today as the narrator for future Ted Mosby on How I Met Your Mother. You never see him, you only hear his voice, but he does have a presence on the show because he's always narrating every episode.
It's so well written and so well acted, and I'm just a disembodied older man voice. I never thought of myself as that old, but I am.
It's the voice that really carries the show and makes it so funny, I think, so it's great that he was able to lend his vocal talents to that.
Kids, someday you're going to throw a party, and you might find yourself worrying that something's going to go wrong.
Even with steady work, Bob always finds time to reunite with his Full House co-stars, especially when it's for laughs.
You've got to love Bob Saget and John Stamos for being able to laugh at themselves and not take themselves too seriously. They did a video for College Humor, the guide to cuddling, Stamos' guide to snuggling. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Traditionally, the man plays the role of the big spoon. But folks, it's 2011.
No matter what he's doing to him, ruffling his hair, rubbing his back, he keeps a straight face. I don't know how many takes these guys had to do, but it's unbelievable.
The pitter-patter of your heart will reassure her that you're still alive.
Like Bob Saget, Dave Coulier also worked the stand-up circuit before joining Full House, and it was incorporated into his character.
Dave Coulier played the role of Uncle Joey, who was not the hip uncle that Uncle Jesse was. He had these sort of funny, crazy voices that everybody loved. He was sort of a dorky, lovable character.
And he did have the catchphrase of "cut it out," which he used all the time on the series.
Cut it out!
After Full House, the comedian continued his stand-up act and lent his crazy voices to many animated TV shows, including Adult Swim's Robot Chicken. On camera, he's dedicated his career to family-friendly programming.
So while Bob Saget is the darkest, most raunchiest comedian ever, Dave Coulier is the total opposite. He's hosting things on Animal Planet and America's Funniest Kids, and he's very clean.
His squeaky clean persona did come into question in the late 90s when it was reported that Alanis Morissette's hit song, You Oughta Know, was about him.
It's like this angry female, hate song, and then she blew everyone's head off. When we realized it was about Uncle Joey, Dave Coulier told a paper that song he believed was about him because they dated.
In 2004, Dave jumped back into TV pop culture history when he was cast in VH1's 3rd season of The Surreal Life.
The two girls. And Olmsted twins. Mary-Kate and Ashley, they're my friends.
Flavor Flav, Brigitte Nielsen, this cast was crazy. Why did Dave Coulier go on a VH1 reality show?
2 years later, the hockey fanatic would join a reality competition suited to his athletic ability.
In 2006, Dave put his ice hockey skills to use on Fox's Skating with the Stars, where he was teamed with Olympian Nancy Kerrigan. They actually did pretty well. They made it to 4th place.
You know, this is it's an incredible challenge. I mean, physically and on a lot of different levels, you know.
As a former hockey player, he didn't quite have the grace that Nancy Kerrigan did, but clearly he knew what he was doing on the ice.
Currently, Dave continues making people laugh with the Clean Guys of Comedy, a brand he co-founded himself dedicated to wholesome entertainment.
How was your night, Al? I got hammered. Come on.
Smart and sensible. Who didn't want to be like the eldest of the Tanner clan, Donna Jo?
Candace Cameron played the role of DJ Tanner.
Candace is the younger sister of former Growing Pains heartthrob, Kirk Cameron.
I just thought she was the coolest person ever.
Sometimes she had to take on more of a maternal role for her two younger sisters, and at the same time she was still a teen going through her own issues.
You saw her birthday party where she was playing Spin the Bottle downstairs.
Thanks for ruining my birthday.
You saw her get her license.
Can I be any more responsible?
You saw her grow up with some romantic interests and going to prom.
The best DJ Tanner episode is when she has an eating disorder.
What's the best way to burn off calories?
It's unbelievable. She's trying to lose weight to get in a bathing suit. She passes out on the Stairmaster.
And the awkward teen years wouldn't have been complete without some standout styles.
I have one outfit that I was very embarrassed about wearing, although I thought it was super cool when I was wearing it. They were like jeany pants and a short bolero jacket with a jewel-studded little bustier. Wow.
Though the comedy series was a huge hit amongst its TGIF lineup, not everyone was a fan.
I had a couple mean girls that were mean to me when I was doing the show Full House. Junior high is not always the greatest age for being kind to people.
But the ratings were very kind. After their successful 8-year run, Candace appeared on the sitcom Boy Meets World.
In '97, she did a guest spot on Boy Meets World. She played this witch that Matthew Lawrence's character just falls head over heels for.
Come on, Jack, chant.
In 1996, Candace took a different direction, playing more challenging characters with TV films like No One Would Tell and Freshman Fall.
In one of these TV movies that she did with Fred Savage, she played a female who was beaten and ultimately killed by a boyfriend. In another, she played opposite Mark Paul Gosselaar as a rape victim.
It was a different side of Candace. It was very serious, more dramatic for her.
Later that same year, Miss Cameron left the limelight and became Mrs. Beret when she married Russian NHL hockey player Valerie Beret.
They had 3 kids together, and as a young mom, she decided to take a break from acting for a while.
From DJ Tanner to mom of 3, Candace returned to acting in 2007 with a recurring role on That's So Raven.
It was so great to be back on set, but honestly, I've been doing it since I was acting since I was 5 years old.
But one of the most important roles in Candace's life has been that of a devoted evangelical Christian.
The Cameron family is known for being very religious.
And like her brother Kirk, she really believes in her faith and bases her family life on her faith-based values.
Candace, at one point, was writing a column for Christian women, and she was traveling around the country speaking at churches.
And Candace remains true to her Christian values on and off the screen. In 2009, Candace joined the cast of Make It or Break It on ABC Family.
She plays the character of Summer Van Horn, who is this really good Christian woman who is waiting till marriage to have sex.
My boyfriend gave it to me. I thought Jesus was your boyfriend.
The television series follows a group of Olympic teen hopefuls on their road to gold.
It was a good fit for me being on ABC Family, and which Full House still airs.
And in 2011, Candace took a stab at writing with her book release, Reshaping It All, a biblical guide to physical and spiritual fitness.
It was just an instant connection for me.
Another connection that forever shapes Cameron Bure is that of her Full House family.
I talk to a lot of the cast, phone, email, try to get together at least once a year for dinner. We're close.
This next former Full House sweetheart played the precocious, nosy little sister who had a tremendous amount of sass.
Jodie Sweetin played Stephanie Tanner, who was the middle child, really the sort of attitude of the show.
So she was very sarcastic, very funny.
She was always the little sister that just wanted to be you, and she wanted to follow you around.
DJ says I'm not allowed to go to her party. Can you believe it?
While the Tanner family was abundant with one-liners,
Have mercy.
You got it, dude.
there were few more memorable than this.
How rude.
Stephanie's was very funny and very appropriate.
That was what she said after everything happened on the show. No matter if it was rude or not, we got how rude.
And it was not just the words, but it was her delivery of those words. It's just so sassy.
After the Full House party came to a crashing end, the annoying little sis had become one of the it girls, getting a recurring role on one of Fox's hit shows.
Jodie did a couple episodes of Party of Five, which was like the coolest show back then, and she got to break free of her little sister shell, and she played one of the popular girls, one of the mean girls.
You know who I mean. The cool crowd, the beautiful people.
Steady work came sparingly for Jodie, with acting gigs on Yesteryear and Brotherly Love.
She played Lydia Lump, who was this really nerdy girl who had a big crush on Matthew Lawrence's character.
But after her sitcom stints, Jodie fell off the radar and had a rough patch of relationships.
Jodie was actually married at a very young age, at 20, but she got divorced in 2006. In 2007, Jodie remarried and had a daughter, but unfortunately, by the end of 2008, the couple was separated.
Despite dealing with these personal issues, Jodie focused on a career comeback.
I mean, what can you say about Pants Off, Dance Off?
Come on, America, take your pants off.
It's a dance contest about people dancing while stripping, and she hosted it, while popping up and saying random funny things.
Tarnishing her Full House good girl image, Jodie went down a dark path, struggling with drug and alcohol abuse.
She struggled with drugs, which is something she has since become very public about.
In 2009, Jodie's personal life became front and center with the release of her memoir, Unsweetened.
You know, the book was, it's actually been a really big part of my recovery, and it was a chance for me to finally tell my story the way I wanted to.
In the book, she detailed a lot of her past drug use with ecstasy, cocaine, and meth.
You know, it really had a huge impact on her life, and I think America was shocked.
She says that the drugs started after Full House ended and they got worse, but since 2008, she's been clean and sober.
There is a lot of pressure. It's very hard to, you know, go through any sort of personal battle, you know, in a public arena.
The mom of two recently teamed up with her former Full House castmate Dave Coulier to shoot a comedy poking fun at themselves and their careers.
And they did a web series called Can't Get Arrested.
They did give you some nice nipples.
Yeah, nicer than mine.
That's a good point.
Right now, Jodie remains grateful for her Full House fame and optimistic about the new opportunities that may lie ahead.
It's such an honor to be a part of, and I mean, it's so much fun to be like part of classic television.
Coming up, see how this Full House beauty made the move to a primetime zip code.
I had moments of like, I hope it's going to be okay.
Then, these stars appeared on Full House as kids. You won't believe their roles as adults. Stay with us. Welcome back to the cast of Full House. Where are they now? With the Tanner family quickly becoming a Friday night fixture, it was time to add a little spice to season 2. Enter Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin came onto Full House as a new series regular named Rebecca Donaldson. She was Bob Saget's co-host on Wake Up San Francisco.
I'm the new host of Wake Up San Francisco.
Co-host.
This is a character that was introduced and wasn't sure if she was going to be around for a little while.
And then she eventually was dating Uncle Jesse and went on to marry him, and then they had twin boys. She was pretty, she was stylish, and she had a career, and so I think she was a positive role model, and we didn't hate her for being with the guy that we loved.
It was a great character who stayed with the duration of the series, kind of helping these girls grow up as a motherly figure that they didn't have already.
When Full House wrapped, Lori continued to work the sitcom circuit with guest stints on shows like Suddenly Susan, The Drew Carey Show, Spin City, and an unforgettable spot on Seinfeld.
I'd like to see you get really mad.
And Lori Loughlin played one of Jerry Seinfeld's many, many girlfriends on the show, and her sort of role as Patty was this woman who wanted to see if you could make the Jerry character mad. He was always a sort of even-keeled guy.
Maybe I should just leave.
Maybe?
Goodbye!
Double goodbye!
But the role Lori most relished after Full House was that of wife and mother. She married fashion designer Massimo Giannulli in 1997, and soon after gave birth to their two daughters, Isabella Rose and Olivia Jade.
I love what I do, I love acting, but the minute I had them, my priorities changed.
He made a promise to me and he broke it.
In 2004, Loughlin was ready to return in full force to television as co-creator and star of the WB drama Summerland.
Lori Loughlin proved she doesn't age because she looked younger than she did in Full House on Summerland.
She was a sort of cool Aunt Ava. She was this fashion designer who took in her niece and nephew whose parents had passed away, and she sort of struggled with raising them and still being the sort of career woman.
The ageless beauty star continued to rise in 2009 as she lit up the big screen opposite two Hollywood heavyweights.
In 2009, Laurie joined the cast of Old Dogs, a film with Robin Williams and John Travolta, where she played John Travolta's love interest.
Charlie, are you okay?
Hey, oh, I am so sorry about that whole pie thing.
That same year, she also made a triumphant return to the small screen in the new edition of 90210 as the zip code's hottest mom.
This was a reboot of the 90210 series for the CW, so they wanted to get some classic stars that maybe grew up in the same era of 90210, the original.
When she's not on set or juggling the demands of motherhood, the actress devotes her time to causes close to her heart.
Off camera, Laurie has spent a lot of her time and energy on philanthropy and cancer research.
It's really important. Until we get rid of cancer, we can't quit, we can't stop. Until we eradicate this horrible disease, I will always be here to support this event.
Through the years, one thing has remained a constant for Laurie, her close-knit bond with her Full House family.
I look back on Full House as some of my, best years of my career, as far as just the love and the friendships that I developed and the family that we created doing that show.
Another love match that sparked a series regular spot on Full House was that of DJ Tanner and her high school sweetheart, Steve.
Scott Weinger played the part of Steve, who was DJ's really sort of jock, studly boyfriend who drove Danny Tanner nuts.
He was so dreamy. I mean, he was kind of like a younger version of Uncle Jesse, which is almost creepy if you think about it.
He came back actually at the end of the series, at the very last scene when DJ had her prom. Steve surprised DJ, and it was a very cute and touching moment, and it kind of gave resolution to these characters that they will make it together in the end.
Come on, Deeves, let's get going. I don't want to miss the buffet.
In 1992, the young star ventured from the small screen to the big one, landing his most animated role to date.
Scott's biggest claim to fame was as the voice of Disney's Aladdin for the animated feature.
He voiced the character of Aladdin both on the big screen as well as on straight-to-DVD movies and video games.
Now about my 3 wishes.
With Hollywood at his fingertips, Weinger shocked everyone in '94 when he decided to leave the biz and head to the Ivy League.
Scott went off to Harvard, where he got a degree in English, and he was also a youth correspondent on Good Morning America, so there was clearly a smarter side to his character.
After graduating, Scott returned to Tinseltown, appearing on a variety of shows including Scrubs and What I Like About You. He even teamed up with Bob Saget, lending his voice to Saget's hilarious Penguin mockumentary.
I'm not in the mood. Your sister was in the mood. I'm gonna go see her.
Scott joined many of his former Full House castmates in Farce of the Penguins. He played the horny penguin with the rest of the crew.
These days, he may be a little less visible, but Scott Weinger definitely plays a part in some of television's hottest shows.
Now he's a writer. He's worked on shows like 90210 and Privileged. So not only does he have the beauty, but he also has the brains.
Michelle Tanner was known to get in a little trouble from time to time, but she always had her partner in crime, Teddy, to back her up.
Taj Mowry played the part of Teddy, who was Michelle's best friend and a classmate of hers. He was on 13 episodes over the course of 4 years, so a really big presence in the show.
Teddy is kind of the friend everyone wants. Michelle would always almost get him into trouble a lot, but he was always down for it.
But your daddy said no. Then we have to be very sneaky.
It was an awesome experience, and the cast was great. It was like a big family. It's still talked about to this day as being one of the best sitcoms ever.
Mowry spent most of his time working with the Olsen twins, who went on to become 2 of the most successful young actresses ever.
They were great to work with, and they're great individuals. They've grown up to be beautiful women and in charge of crazy multi-billion-dollar companies. So they're awesome, and I had a blast working with them.
The Olsens weren't the only twins he worked with on the show. His real-life twin sisters, Tia and Tamara, guest starred on an episode of Full House with him.
I think the producers of Full House knew they struck a gold mine with the Olsen twins. So they reached out to Tia and Tamara Mowry and said, hey, why don't you play one of Michelle's castmates?
It was just fun to go to work with your sibling and then go home with your sibling. Like, you know, you're always with them. So it was cool, and we learned from each other during that time, and we feed off of each other.
As the story goes, a producer saw Tia and Tamara's work in Full House, were really impressed by them, and gave them their own show, Sister Sister.
Sister Sister went on to become a huge success for the twins, while Taj went on to star in his own sitcom, playing a kid genius on Smart Guy. He later guest starred on his sister Tia's hit series, The Game, once again reuniting the siblings on screen.
I think I did like 2 episodes of that, and I play her annoying brother. Basically anything inappropriate that you would think a younger brother would say to his older sister, that's what he says on that show. And the fans love it.
Although he ventured into voiceover acting on Disney's Kim Possible, Taj is returning to his sitcom roots in the upcoming ABC family show, Baby Daddy.
So you have a baby left on a doorstep and 3 idiots, which I play one of those idiots, who are basically forced to raise, you know, this child and have no idea how to do it.
And while he can't wait to tackle his new series, he's happy his Full House character has made a lasting impression.
It's a blessing to have been a part of something so big and something that people still watch and enjoy as if it was a new show on the air.
Many up-and-comers earn their stripes on Full House, like actor Andrew Keegan.
Andrew Keegan appeared on one episode of Full House in '95. He played a guy that Stephanie Tanner really had to get the guts up to ask him out to a dance. He sort of blew her off, and then Danny Tanner got involved.
Danny, her father, her knight in shining armor, goes after this guy, chews him out, and then he ends up going out with her.
I didn't think I'd make her cry.
You didn't think about her feelings at all.
Keegan starred in movies like Camp Nowhere and Independence Day, and later appeared on a series with another famous TV family, the Camdens, where he worked alongside Jessica Biel.
After Full House, Andrew went on and played a recurring role on Seventh Heaven for about 5 years. He played a teenage dad who was dating Mary.
But his most recognized role came in a 1999 film.
In '99, Andrew Keegan had a lead role in 10 Things I Hate About You. He plays a sort of rich kid who is really sort of a bad guy character.
You messed with the wrong guy. Now you're gonna pay.
And while Keegan may not have won Stephanie's heart on Full House, another young Hollywood hopeful had better luck.
Will Estes was another boy that Stephanie liked on the show, and he was in Romeo and Juliet with her, and he's always been a little babe.
I mean, I always wanted to kiss you, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to kiss me. But when Michelle said you had a crush on me, I figured it might be okay.
After Full House, Will continued his heartthrob ways on NBC's American Dreams.
In 2002, Will was cast in American Dreams. He played this football player who was enlisted in the Marines and went off to fight in the Vietnam War.
And while the show only lasted 3 seasons, it wasn't long before he found a new home on the small screen, first on the short-lived series Reunion.
It's a part coming-of-age drama, part murder mystery, and one of the really cool things about this show is that every episode takes place a year later in time, so that we're all going to age 20 years in one season.
He's now on CBS's Blue Bloods. He plays a police officer opposite Tom Selleck.
Playing a police officer was such a good fit for Will that he scored a role in one of the most anticipated summer blockbusters of all time.
He's also going to be playing a police officer in the upcoming Batman film, The Dark Knight Rises.
Still ahead, which former Tanner House guest made the biggest transformation on Full House? We'll be right back. Welcome back to the cast of Full House. Where are they now? Even though the house was pretty full, there always seemed to be room for celebrity guests to drop in on the Tanner family.
Over the course of Full House's 8-year run, they had a number of well-known guest stars show up. Everyone from Wayne Newton to Suzanne Summers to Troy Aikman guested on the show.
Uncle Jesse may have had his own band on the show, but John Stamos brought in some of his real-life musician buddies to rock the Tanner clan.
John Stamos had a relationship with the Beach Boys off-screen. He was even in their video as the drummer in Kokomo. He brought them onto the show a couple of times, which was a really big get for the ABC show.
The Beach Boys provided fans with some classic Full House moments, including letting the Tanners perform on stage with them.
They are the Tanner family!
Ever since he invited us to come on Full House, we've been recognized by being on that show from sea to shining sea.
Proving that acting talent runs in the family, Candace's brother Kirk Cameron also had a guest spot on the show.
He played Cousin Steve, who DJ sort of remembers as this dorky guy with acne. He comes back and he ends up being this sort of high school jock and stud.
What happened to your braces, glasses, and zits?
Oh, all gone. Isn't nature great?
ABC knew they had a great thing going on Friday nights with Family Matters and Full House. And they thought, what can we do to make this even crazier and get even more ratings? Let's put Steve Urkel on Full House.
He sort of came in as the cousin of DJ Tanner's friend, just as annoying, just as dorky as he was on Family Matters, which was also part of the TGIF block.
It's my cousin Steve. He's in town for the big science fair, and he won't quit bugging us. Honey, I'm home!
Jaleel White also found a home on season 14 of Dancing with the Stars.
I think we should bring Uncle Jesse back in and they can have a dance-off.
That wraps up the cast of Full House. Where Are They Now? Want to stay closer to your favorite stars? Be sure to like TV Guide Network on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.